So recently, I had a video out about the possibility of whales early instaking and causing a premature spike in the share price. I also talked about that a lot on Discord Syndicate one night. After thinking about it for a while, and mostly after getting a lot of feedback from the community, it has become very obvious that this theory is false. It has been debunked. But it's a good thing that it was debunked, because now we're going to understand more about how shares work. How was it debunked? Well, to put it simply, I talked to Kyle about this, Kyle for HEX, who has created some simulations, and I asked the question: let's say that you stake 1,000 HEX for 350 days on day one, from day one. So from day one to day 350, you stake 1,000 HEX. You also, from day one to day 350, you stake 1 billion HEX. My question was, which one will receive a higher ROI? The reason I want to know the ROI is because ROI determines the new share price of HEX. Share price is determined by the highest ROI that has ever been seen in HEX. That actually spurred a thought. I'm curious between anyway, that's another topic. I'm just thinking more about shares. Sorry. So anyway, day 1 through day 350, 1,000 HEX stake, and then day 1 through 350, 1 billion HEX stake. Kyle told me that the difference in ROI between the two would be between 5 and 10%. Now, I was thinking that the ROI was determined via a raw coin accrual mechanism. I was thinking that ROI would be more set by the number of coins that you got back. That's how ROI was determined. And of course, if a 1 billion coin whale decides to end early, he's going to collect more coins by far, probably by an order of magnitude, than anyone else in the history of HEX. My thought was that raw coin accrual is what determined ROI. That's not how it works. How it works is the ROI is determined based on the percentage gain. So a 1 billion coin stake versus a 1,000 coin stake is only going to see a 5 to 10% gain over the small. So the big 1 billion coin stake may see 5 to 10% over the small 1,000 coin stake. And that is likely entirely due to the bigger pays better multiplier. And it's just that simple. It's just that simple. So the theory is debunked because ROI is not calculated in the way that I thought it was back when I said those things. So I'm going to get off topic, off of HEX now, and kind of get more into, I don't know, more life, talking about life and things like that, and about being wrong. Personally, I love being wrong. I enjoy it. In fact, I think that I seek being wrong more than just about anything. And that sounds weird, but it sounds like, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to be wrong? The reason is, every decision, so I'm 31 years old, every decision that I make is based on 31 years of experience. That's a long time. That's a lot of experience. So in order to make a bad decision, that means that the 31 years of experience that you had is not enough. That means you were missing something. That means it was an insufficient amount of experience in order to formulate a correct opinion regarding a topic. When you're wrong, what that means is that you were able to add knowledge to that experience not only to correct your mistake, but it makes the chance of you being wrong again in the future smaller. Every time you're wrong, every time you make a mistake, your chances of making a mistake in the future goes down. That's how experience works. The more wrong you are, the less wrong you will be. And this ties into the most important point that really overlies all of this is persistence. Persistence, in some ways, it could be argued that persistence may even trump intelligence to some degree. Now, if you have a guy with a 50 IQ, all the persistence in the world is not going to help him, most likely. But well, it depends on what he's doing. If he's digging a hole in the ground, or if he's trying to do something like that, and he's persistent for 30 years, if he's trying to build a pyramid by himself, then persistence, even if a guy has 50 IQ, persistence would win over. A guy that has 120 IQ, if he doesn't ever pick up the first rock, he has no persistence, no staying power, then he's not going to outperform the persistent guy with a 50 IQ. And there's probably some mild caveats in there, but so anyway, what really works is if you have high IQ or high intelligence and high persistence combined. When you have those two things, you can make a lot of change in the world, and make a lot of change for yourself. This brings me back. I've had 8 years in crypto to make mistakes. I've been doing this for 8 years. I've been doing this. We're in June. So 8 years ago, June 2012, was a period in Bitcoin called $5 forever. I remember that summer. I remember watching the Bitcoin price that summer. It was $5. Back then, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand how mining worked. I didn't understand, because I hadn't put the work in. I hadn't looked into it because I thought it was a scam. I thought it was a novelty. I thought it was a way to buy drugs, and that's it. And it wasn't particularly interesting. And I hadn't fell into the silverbug hole yet. Silverbugs can understand the benefits of Bitcoin because they understand money. In 2012, I did not understand money. In summer of 2012, I did not understand money. I remember looking at the Bitcoin chart in June 2012. I was in Atlanta. I lived in Atlanta. I was sitting in probably one of the largest data centers maybe in the country. It was massive. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of servers. I was a data center tech. I love that job. That was probably one of my most favorite jobs that I ever had. Because I would work with customers, and customers would have a problem. I'd go fix their server. It was cool. I built servers and loaded operating systems and fixed them, performed maintenance, and it was cool. But there's not a month that goes by when I don't think about all the server access I had. I had access to untold amounts of electricity, servers, and I'm sure I could have rented the servers for very cheap, and I could have mined bitcoins on those servers. I was infatuated with server farms, building racks. I would build massive racks for customers. I would, in a day, in an hour, build a rack that was worth, $100,000 or more, just raw computing power. And for customers that you've heard of, for sure, definitely, very large hosting companies. And I would build all these racks for them. I was obsessed with it. I loved it. I was building them at home. But the problem was, and I was extremely frustrated by this, I didn't know what to do with them. I was building these massive hard drive banks just to learn how to do it, just because I thought it was cool. I was building these massive server farms, and I had no idea what to do with it. I did some folding at home, but it wasn't really fulfilling to me. I was more into finance. And there's not a month that goes by when I think about those days when I was obsessed with those farms. And this was an intuition probably on my part. Whether you're a spiritual person or not, whether you believe in the religion of materialism, whether you believe that there is a plane of existence beyond what we're currently experiencing, I can't help but think during those times that my obsession with building server racks and all these things was trying to push me towards mining Bitcoin back in those early days on massive amounts of equipment, as I easily could have done. It speaks to me as if it was an intuition back then. Some people believe that, some people they don't. But anyway, the point is, the feelings that I had back then towards Bitcoin, and let me backtrack real quick. That was summer of 2012. By February of 2013, I was mining. I figured out, oh, okay, the thing I've been looking for, this is it, and I just completely went headfirst into it. But back then, 6 months made a big difference. That was the difference between being able to mine massive amounts of Bitcoin and not being able to mine that much at all. But in 2013, I was headfirst. That was life. I ended up losing a relationship over it. The girl I was with, she didn't like that I was paying all my attention to the Bitcoin miners, and she left, which that was fine. It was probably for the best. But anyway, that intuitive feeling, that fascination, that slow building of energy that was going on in Bitcoin back in those days, it's happening today in HEX. We are in the extraordinarily early days of HEX right now. Extraordinarily early. Anything under a penny is extraordinarily early. And people are going to look back just the same way that I look back to 2012. The same way that I look back to 2012 and wish that those server farms that I had built in my house that I couldn't figure out what to do with, how I wish today that I had mined Bitcoin on those servers. People will look back at HEX that way today. They're going to look back and think, man, how did I miss this? How did I miss the opportunity to buy an asset that offers an increasing interest rate the longer you hold it? People are going to look back and wonder. So you've got that chance today. You're here today. You don't have to get a time machine. You don't have to get a time machine and travel back to 2012. You've got it today with HEX. And it's an opportunity that a lot of you are taking advantage of. And those of you that are still waiting on your promises, most people in crypto are waiting on promises. The XRP, Ripple guys, they're waiting on Ripple to deliver promises. They're waiting on the SBI bank to deliver promises. And they think that these promises are going to pump their coin. That's what they're waiting for. Almost every project in the top 30, they purely are priced based on promises. Even Bitcoin, to a degree, is based on promises. They have promises that one day they're going to scale and become the money of everyone. Jack on Twitter, he actually believes that. Jack, the guy that owns Twitter, actually believes that Bitcoin is going to scale and take over finance somehow, with probably with Lightning Network. These people actually believe this, and these beliefs are based on promises. There is not a single coin that I'm aware of in the top 20, except maybe Dogecoin. I don't think Dogecoin promises anything. They just everybody laughs at it. I don't think there's any promises for Dogecoin. Maybe there are, but other than maybe Dogecoin, there are no coins in the top 20 that are not built on promises. And when I say that Bitcoin is going to be overtaken by HEX in 2020, people are blown away. They're like, how could you say something like that? That's crazy. It's not that hard when you really think about it, because these coins are dreams based on promises. HEX has no promises. It is a completed product. It actually, it doesn't promise anything, yet it actually delivers. It delivers on promises that it doesn't make. It over delivers and under promises. No other crypto does this. It's it's like it's like people, and I hate to use such a simplistic analogy, but it's like people are at a horse race and somebody shows up with a car and beats all the horses. Let's say that the finish line is a $200 billion market cap. $200 billion is, maybe 175 is what Bitcoin is currently at. And 200 billion, that's the fastest that a horse in this horse derby has ever ridden. The fastest time that a horse has ever ridden is 200 billion. And when I say that a car is going to do better than the horse and do better than 200 billion, everybody loses their minds. They're like, what are you talking about? That's impossible. No, it's not impossible. Your bar is set so low. Everything in crypto in the top 30 is based on promises. Most of them are empty. When you have a product that is not based on promises and actually delivers something, it's like introducing a car into a horse derby. All of the bars that you were previously used to, all of the previous records, they're all irrelevant because you just changed the game. That's what HEX does. HEX changes the game. People are going to wake up to this sooner than later.